One down, one to go.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought.
Yes, hello friends, what's going on? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host Jan. I hope you're doing well, mate. I genuinely really do hope that. Welcome back to Chelsea news. Pochettino did say he wants two more signings, a goalkeeper and an attacking midfielder, so a forward that can play behind and around all positions. Well, he's got one. Chelsea have announced Petrovic. Who's coming next? Who's going to be that next forward? Also, Callum Hudson-Odoi has agreed personal terms with Nottingham Forest. We've just loaned them Andre Santos, so the dialogue is there, the relationship is there. Ivan Toney has changed agents amid a probable January transfer move. Will he ever play for Brentford again? Would he come to Chelsea? We'll talk about that a little bit. Also, who is this next forward going to be? Will it be Ryan Cherky? It looks like Bradley Barcola is not going to be coming to Chelsea. So much up in the air and so much to get into. So I thank you for joining me. Thank you for dropping a like and subscribing to this channel, Football Therapy. I appreciate your support very much so. Stay to the end. There's lots to get into and let's go. Alright, Chelsea have announced Petrovic. They said this. Chelsea have completed the signing of goalkeeper Djordje Petrovic from MLS side New England Revolution. The 23-year-old who has been capped twice by Serbia has agreed a 7-year deal with an option to extend for a further year. So another one of the 8 years deals for a 23-year-old. That's pretty good for a goalkeeper. He is part of Project 2030, the business plan, the long-term business plan that Chelsea owners Blue Co, which is of course Bowley and Igbali, what they're planning at the moment. Petrovic was deemed the best goalkeeper in MLS. I think this is a record sale for them, certainly for a goalkeeper. Chelsea said this, or rather Petrovic said this: "I'm happy to be at Chelsea and I'm really excited to get started at this club. It's a big step for me and it's always been a dream of mine to sign for one of the biggest clubs in the world. Today I have achieved that goal, so I'm happy." Congratulations, Petrovic. Playing in the Premier League is something I'm really looking forward to doing. You're gonna have to bench Sanchez first, mate. And I look forward to learning and doing loads of things at Chelsea. I can't wait to meet everyone and play at Stamford Bridge. Win Stanley and Stewart, of course, our sporting directors, said this: "We are very pleased to welcome Djordje," I think it's Djordje, "to the club. His performances in MLS have earned deserved praise and recognition and have prepared him for the challenge of playing for Chelsea. Djordje improves an already strong goalkeeping team. We look forward to watching him work under Mauricio Pochettino, the goalkeeping coach, Toney and the rest of the first team staff." Okay, interesting. Some pictures of him here. There should be some quotes for him. He spoke about in an interview that he's happy. Of course, he's Serbian. He saw Branislav Ivanovic, Brana play for Chelsea, Nemanja Matic, and he is, the next one, and he's excited to be playing at Stamford Bridge for Chelsea. Well, I made no bones about it. He didn't cost that much money. He's coming from MLS. He is going to be the second choice goalkeeper. Marcus Bernelli, he's there for vibes. He drinks coffee with the boys and he trains. And I think he's pretty much happy with that and is, agreed to that role at Chelsea Football Club. Petrovic, though, we've signed him on an 8-year deal, essentially. Basically an 8-year deal. A long-term deal like Rob Sanchez. But Rob Sanchez has got the experience in the Premier League. But if this guy's good, it's another one of these options. At least it won't be like, Eduard Mendy and Kepa Arrizabalaga, but Kepa was on first-team wages, too much for first-team wages anyway, and he was sitting on the bench. So Chelsea won't have that issue now. Both these guys will be on very, very manageable wages for our income, and if one sits on the bench for the other, the owners won't mind, the coaching staff won't mind, only the geezer sitting on the bench is going to mind. So we're set up better now, and I kind of dig it. I'm pleased for that. We're safe. Locked down. We've got a goalkeeper. We've got all the goalkeepers we need. And if you look at Brighton, they've just been David Moyesed like we were. At least when we lost 3-1 to West Ham, we were down there, gaff. Brighton had it in their own little Amex Stadium. You muggy little slugs, Brighton. You muggy slugs. Right then, we are going to talk about this potential. So Pochettino will be happy with that. He said he wants a goalkeeper. There's your goalkeeper, brother. Done like dinner, my friend. Of course, Petrovic was at the game on Friday last night anyway, so he knew it was going to happen. But who are we going to get for an attacker? Well, stick around and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But I'll tell you who it's not going to be. It's not going to be Bradley Barcola, because reports suggesting he does no longer want to go to Chelsea anymore. And probably the Lyon attacking mid-wide player will probably go to Paris Saint-Germain. So we'll talk about that or an alternative in just a moment. Footy Insider, Football Insider, saying sources, Nottingham Forest agreed terms of Hudson-Odoi after new Chelsea talks. Nottingham Forest have agreed personal terms of Hudson-Odoi. Steve Cooper's team are looking to agree a deal for the 22-year-old. Of course, they went a 2-0, speaking of today's results, 2-0 lead against Manchester United and managed to sort of mess that up and get a man sent off. But Forest aren't down and out. And of course, Andre Santos hasn't featured for them yet, but he's a loan that you'd bet your bottom dollar, sure, absolutely should be a starter for Forest. Steve Cooper, once he gets a good look at him, will stick him in the lineup, you'd have to think. So that is Hudson-Odoi, Andre Santos. They got some other. Gibbs White is a good number 10. Had some excellent moments for them. They could stay up, especially when you look how terrible Everton are and some other teams. Because for me at the moment, Everton and Luton are going down. I know we're only on game week 3 and it's not even completed yet, but it could be Sheffield as well, and that's your 3. So Nottingham Forest could be like sweet as a nut with the likes of Andre Santos and Callum Hudson-Odoi. It's believed Hudson-Odoi has already got an agreement in principle with Forest over a long-term contract. Of course, 2 years ago, he was valued at £70 million by Bayern Munich. Now we're trying to get a few million quid for him. Of course, Fulham pulled out because they didn't want to pay £8 million. And Fulham have got some money. 8 million quid. Speaking of them, they had a good result against Arsenal. Made me feel good about myself. The only thing about me, you don't want to hear about me, really. But I got bummed out today because had Brighton beat West Ham like they were supposed to, I would have won £400 on an accumulator that I only spent £10 on. And that was my dead cert. You just wish you could go back and cash out because it would have been a big cash out. Anyway, enough about my pain. Callum Hudson-Odoi off to Nottingham Forest. A transfer fee has to be agreed, but I think if we're in good vibes with Forest, they're looking after Andre Santos, we can come to a decision. And it's getting late in the day, late in the hour, a few days left. You'd think that Hudson, you just get this done. Chelsea just get, he's 120k a week, far too much for a player. Even that's much more than most of our starters. But for a player not even on the bench, just not considered part of the project, you need to alleviate yourself of those wages as soon as possible. So Callum Hudson-Odoi there. Right, Chelsea are going to look for an attacker. And who's left? Because apparently Brennan Johnson is closer to joining Tottenham than Chelsea now. And do I, another Forest player, of course. And do I care about that so much? Probably not. I think he's probably a good player, and again, I always say I defer to the management, the coaches, the sporting directors, because they're getting paid the big bucks to sort this out now and rebuild Chelsea from the ground up with a new vision, with the shackles off as well, with like an element of do what you want, do what you think is right. Go with your heart, do what your heart tells you. So with that, Brennan Johnson's okay, but to be honest, I wanted to talk about Ryan Djordje again because he's come up. Chelsea have looked at him a few times, and now with Elise off the table, with Kudus off the table, with Brennan Johnson potentially off the table, who's left? People are calling for Joao Felix to come back on loan, and I just don't think that's a good idea. And we know for a fact Mauricio Pochettino doesn't like Joao Felix, so. He doesn't think he's hard enough working. And Nkunku's going to come back and he's going to play. He's going to start. The way Nkunku tied up, our attack in pre-season. Yes, it was pre-season. But, scintillating in-form Raheem Sterling and similarly for Nico Jackson. These players linking up with Nkunku himself getting some goals as well as those guys. And who knows, maybe firing up Misha Mudryk and, put up another attacker. But I think we probably still could do with another attacker. We're not seeing much of Noni Madueke. So I guess there's the word that Pochettino keeps using is the right profile of player. I think he wants someone a little bit creative as well. Ryan Djordje's got mad creative metrics. Now, we've heard I can't remember who it was. It was a reputable source with inside knowledge, but it said that Chelsea sort of went off the boil for Ryan Cherki because they didn't like his attitude or something. But his teammate Bradley Barcola, if he doesn't want to join Chelsea, if Brennan Johnson's not going to join Chelsea, if Mohamed Kudus is not going to join Chelsea, if Michael Elise is not going to join Chelsea, and of course, it's just fan-pushed stuff about Joao Felix, who the ruddy heck is going to join Chelsea? Again, the fact how I wanted to name Ryan Cherki here and speak about him briefly in the video because the fact how he has got mad creative metrics and he does fit the profile of a young player. You know, you would put him on a 7+1 year deal like the rest of them, lock him down for a long time on suitable wages, you'd have to say. It could be the option, you know. I mean, if Leon sell Bradley Barcola, are they going to be happy to sell Ryan Cherki late in the day? The hour is late to sell all your players and not replace them. I'm trying to talk like Saruman there. Saruman sounds a bit like a Pokemon. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, let me know what you think about Ryan Cherki and let's talk about Ivan Toney. All right, the Evening Standard. Right. Ivan Toney has signed with new super agent Jonathan Barnett ahead of an expected bidding war for the Brentford striker in January. Of course, he's serving a ban for his gamblerinos. I recently watched him talk on the Diary of a CEO podcast, and I wasn't that impressed by him. In fact, I was a little bit disappointed to hear that he's a Liverpool fan and enjoys watching Arsenal. All the things you don't want to hear as a Chelsea fan. But as a player, I adore Ivan Toney. I forget, for Brentford, he got 20 Premier League goals. But he was only behind Harry Kane and Erling Haaland. And he sort of says, the way they were playing football, he says, look, put me in that City team, see how many goals I score. He's really confident, he's really confident. I like that. And I kind of believe him, because he's not just a sort of guy that's just a poacher in the box. He works so hard, his hold-up play, and I've always loved Ivan Toney. And because we've got young strikers, 22-year-olds, Breuer, Jackson, to have this 26, 27-year-old striker is far enough away. Do you know what I mean? It's not bringing in it's not like bringing in a Dusan Vlahovic who's basically the same age as our current young strikers, and they're all going to block each other. It's not. I think Toney, he loves playing with strike partners, and he's that senior guy, and he scores. He's just a Premier League banker in terms of scoring. And also, he's only ever missed one penalty for Brentford. And he's scored God knows how many. His penalty record is immaculate. It's insanely good. And, you could say maybe Nkunku's going to come back and he'll take penalties. He's going to be pretty good. But after seeing Enzo's penalty and, Jorginho's gone, it sounds silly and trivial, but having an absolute banker of a penalty scorer is it's just really good in your team, and especially if he's a striker, it keeps his confidence up. Where world-renowned Stellar Agency facilitated Jack Grealish's £100 million move to Man City. Brentford are said to be resigned to losing Toney next year, but are expecting a demand for £80 million for the 27-year-old. What happened to football, man? Tottenham and Arsenal have both linked with Toney. And so it's Chelsea. Apparently our sporting director Paul Winstanley is interested in Ivan Toney and has set up early communications to develop early relationships. So what do you think, guys? I really like the idea of Ivan Toney in January, especially, I don't know. I don't want, at the moment, I don't want to be a hypocrite or flip-flop, because Nico Jackson looks like the one. I said in a recent video, if he can get, it might have been the last upload, if he can score 1 and 2, that Tony's done better than 1 and 2. But if Nico Jackson can do 1 and 2, his work off the ball is just immaculate. He can be Chelsea's striker. He can be Chelsea's striker, absolutely. It's very early days, though, of course. Although Ivan Toney, if he could come to Chelsea, I just think he'd be mustard. He'd get straight back into that England squad, and he would elevate, I think, personally, another homegrown player, of course. But that's for later. Now we've got Petrovic done. Now we've got one more transfer to do. Certainly transfers out to do, and that, of course, there's two really, isn't there? There's Lukaku and there is Hudson-Odoi. Hopefully Hudson-Odoi gets over the line with Nottingham Forest. Hopefully Lukaku goes to join up with Jose Mourinho. Again, I would urge you to watch my previous upload for details on what's going on with Lukaku. But in the meantime, who is going to be that extra attacking midfielder that Pochettino wants? Let me know what you think, who it should be. Comment down below. I look forward to reading those and seeing what you guys think. Thank you for liking and subscribing. Again, go check out Football Yannick, my sister channel, where I upload daily on non-Chelsea football related matters. And it's fun. And the latest upload, Mia brings in a bird at the end and I have to just stop recording. But don't worry, the bird is alive and looks completely unharmed. But that's funny if you want to go and watch that. Alright, see you soon. Peace.